Welcome to Data Guy, the channel dedicated to helping you unlock the power of data.
Hey everyone, welcome to Data Guy. In this video, we're going to see one of the most important topics in SQL and most used function in SQL is joins. Okay, so far you have mastered selecting and filtering data from a single table. But example, just imagine that you're a data analyst studying a farmers market, okay, and you need to know which vendors are selling which products and how much do they have in stock. Okay, the only way you can get this data, it's by accessing multiple tables. Okay, and till now we have accessed, we have uh, we have only retrieved the data from a single table. So what is the case that we have to retrieve data from multiple tables? And how you do it? The answer is using joins. Okay, so that's where SQL joins comes in, and the most important thing is the ER diagrams of your data set. Okay, because the ER diagram shows us the primary key, which is a unique ID, and the foreign key that links the table. Like for example, the product category ID connects a specific product to its broader category name. Okay, so we have to be clear on which table is connected to which table, so that we have an so that we can use these keys to join the tables, and that is a primary function of the joins. Okay, next we will see the order of execution of joins, because if you want to understand how joins work, you need to understand how it is executed. I mean, before which function it is executed, right, in the order of execution. Okay, so likewise, first, as I said, the from clause gets executed with the join clause. Okay, the database gathers and matches the data. So whichever table you want to, from which you want to access the data, you mention all these tables in the from clause using joins. Okay, and regarding the syntax, we'll get to that in the later part of the video, but for now just understand the order of execution. Okay, the from and join gets executed first because it gathers the database and matches the data. Okay, then where, because once we have decided which all tables we need to access the data, then we can introduce the filter to those table. Okay, that is where the where clause comes in. Okay, and the third one is group by and having. Same way, like I said, when you have summarization or data aggregation, we use group by and having. So in which group by executes first and then having executes second. Okay, then the select statement, because only now does it pick the columns to show you. Okay, and the last one, it is followed by order by, limit, and offset. This is primarily to sort the data or to trim the list, yes, or to limit the number of output rows that like in the results. So this is basically the order of execution. All you need to remember is join executes along with the from clause. Okay, because that is where you define all the tables that you're going to use in this query to retrieve the data. Okay, next we'll learn about when we talk about joins, there are like 3 to 4 types of joins. The most common one used is inner join. Okay, the inner join is the exclusive join. Okay, it only returns the records that have matches in both tables. Okay, let me explain you with an example. Here you have two tables. One table has vendor ID and vendor name, the other table has vendor ID and booth number. When you compare these both tables, you see that in both the tables the vendor ID 1 and 2 are present. Okay, now when you use inner join to join these two tables, you will get the output as this. Okay, because like I said, inner joins only get the result in which both the vendor ID in both the table which matches, only that is given as output. In this case, vendor ID 1 and 2 is available in both the table, hence only that is given in the output. So vendor ID 1 Blue Ridge Farm with booth number 101. Okay, same way vendor ID 2 Organic Orchard, booth number 102. Okay, first just try to understand it a bit, and once we start writing SQL queries, you'll get it. Okay, now the second join is, this is also one of the most used join, that is left join. Left join pulls all the records from the left table and matches from the right. If there is no match, you get null values. Always remember this: when there is no match, you'll get null values. Okay, whenever you see a question that you need all the product details or all the vendor ID or all the customer details, you need to use left join, because you want to find out the IDs of the customer who never ordered or who didn't order for the last 1 month or 2 months. For that, if you use inner join, you will not find that, you will not get the right details. You need to use the left join for that, because left join gives you all the customer IDs, and when you use left join, the IDs which has null values are the one IDs belongs to the customer who never ordered. Okay, so now just take it in the mind. Okay, and we'll understand this once we write SQL query, but for now just keep in mind that left join pulls all the records from the left table and matches from the right. Okay, and if there is no match, you'll get null values. Remember this is main. When there is no match, you get null values. Okay, now look at the example. I have the same two tables: vendor ID, vendor name, vendor ID, and booth number. Okay, and we're going to join both the tables using left join. Okay, the result would be, as per the definition, left join and pulls all the record from the left table. Okay, so in that case we have 1, 2, and 3, and the only the IDs with matches will get the booth number, and here vendor ID 3 happy, hence it is not available in the vendor ID booth number table, which is not available in the table number 2. Hence what we get a null value in this. Okay, as per the definition, that's what it pulls out all the vendor IDs from the left table and also the matching IDs from the right table, and if the IDs didn't match, you get a null value. Okay, that is what is a left join. Understand? The third join is right join. Right join is similar to left join. Only thing is, it pulls all the records from the right table. Instead of left table, it pulls all the records from the right table and the matches from the left. If there is no matches, you'll get null values. This is same as a left join. Only thing is, instead of going from left to right, it goes from right to left. Okay. We will be using mostly with left join. We won't be using with right join, but this is just for you to understand that there is a right join, and this is what the difference is. Okay, just look at the example, it will be clear. I have the same two tables, table 1, table 2 with vendor ID, vendor name, and table 2 with vendor ID, booth number. Okay, same way vendor ID 1 and 2 is common in both the tables, and if we use right join, as per the definition, it takes all the IDs from the right table and the matching IDs from the left table. As you can see, 1, 2, and 4, the matching ID has the vendor name, and the ID which is not matching with the table 1 has the null values in the vendor name. Okay, so hope you guys understand now what is the difference between left and right table. Sorry, left and right join. There is a fourth join, okay, which is called full outer join. Okay, full outer join returns everything from both sides. However, in MySQL, it doesn't support it directly, so we must use union function to perform the outer join. But outer join works well in BigQuery, Google's BigQuery. So BigQuery is similar to MySQL. It's a workbench, but it is primarily available with Google. So in that you can use full outer join, but in MySQL you need to use union. Okay, and we'll write some query related to union in our future classes in this tutorial. But for now, just keep in mind. That's it. Okay. So now let's go to our MySQL workbench so that I'll show you practically what is what. Okay. Now to get all the products, if you see this here, this is the ER diagram. Okay. So this is the ER diagram of the farmers market. The first question is get all the products with their category names. Get all the products with their category names. That is the first problem statement. Okay. We have the product names here in the product table, and we have the product category name in this table, and both these tables are joined by product category ID. Okay, as you can see, the product category ID is the primary key in the product category, and it is the foreign key in the product table. Okay, and hence we're going to use both these tables to get the output. Okay, now let's write it. Select, I'll just write star from product as P join product category as PC. Okay, this alias is important because when we want to specify that when we want to mention that we need only this particular column from this table, the only way MySQL will understand if you use the alias, because there are two tables we're going to use here. Okay, when you look at here, product category ID, it is available in both product category as well as the product table. So in order for MySQL to understand which product category ID column we need to use the alias before that. Okay, so let me just show you. I'll just write it as from the product table, we'll take product name and product category ID and c dot product category name. Okay, because this product category ID is available in both the tables, hence we need to mention the alias so that MySQL knows which product ID to retrieve. Understand? So we have mentioned the columns name that we wanted to be displayed in the select statement, and the from has the two tables that we want to retrieve the data from, and we join these two tables with this keyword join. Okay, you can write inner join or join, both are same, only for left and right you need to mention what. And also we have to mention a condition for all the join statement. We need to mention a condition. It is mentioned using on statement, on, and we need to write the common column which is available in both the tables. Here product category ID is the common column, so just write P dot product category ID is equal to PC dot product category ID. Okay, now let's close this and let's run this and see. Got it. So this product name, Herbano Peppers Organic, its product category ID is 1. The product category name is fresh fruit and vegetables. Now we have actually retrieved the data from two different tables using joins. This is a basic, very simple SQL query using joins. Okay, Hope you understand. We have mentioned the under the select statement, we have mentioned all the column names that we want to retrieve, and under the from statement, we mentioned both the tables from which we need to retrieve the data, that is product table and the product category table, and we have used alias to name the tables. Okay, we have used alias to name the tables. The reason we use alias is because we want the product category ID in the output, and MySQL is not sure the product category ID from product or from product category table, which from which table it has to retrieve this product category ID. Hence what we do is we use these alias before the column name. Okay, that is useful. And also all the join statement, we need to mention this condition, that is on, mention the column name, the common column name which is there in both the tables, and mention it like this, that p dot product category id is equal to pc dot product category id, which means that product category id from the product table is equal to product category id from the product category table. Okay, so this is a join condition, that the join will happen. Okay, and you use a semicolon to terminate the query, and when you run this you get this output. Okay, hope you're clear with this. Now let's go to the second question. Find the customer who haven't purchased anything from the market. Okay, this is what I said. Okay, now we need to find the customers who haven't purchased anything from the market. So in order to get this, we need the customer IDs of all the customers. When we say all, that means we need to use left join. Okay, select. Now let us go and look at the ER diagram to understand which column we're going to use and from which table. Okay, we have customer table and we have customer purchases. Customer table will have details of all the customers, whether they have purchased or not purchased. It will have details of all the customers. But customer purchases table will have details of only the customers who have made the purchase. Okay, so we need to get the customer ID, all the customer ID from the customer table, not the customer purchase table. Okay, so for this we'll write it as customer ID. Okay, customer ID, and let's write customer first name. And quantity. Okay, from where we're going to get the data from the customer table, so just write customer as C, left join customer purchases table as CP. You can even use A and B here, or no, you can use like anything, but generally people use the starting letter of the column name, so that no, it is easy to understand, and it's like common for everyone. Even if someone else is reading your query, they won't get confused, they'll understand that. That's the reason we always use the column first letter as an alias. Okay, now we need to put the alias here so that MySQL gets the right column. We want the customer ID from the customer table, and customer first name is also from the customer table, and quantity will get from the customer purchases table. Okay, now we need to mention the join condition, right? On C dot customer ID is equal to CP dot customer ID. Okay, now if you run this, okay, you got the result. Okay, so customer ID 1 has ordered 3, because each row it's on a different market date. Okay, that's the reason the Jane is repeating a lot. Okay, so since the total number of rows is 1002, we want to find the customer who didn't order at all. Okay, when you use left join, example, customer ID 1 is available in both the customer table as well as the customer purchases table. Hence it is reflecting, hence the quantity it's showing as 4. If Jane didn't order, it would have shown as null in the quantity because this particular customer details won't be available in the customer purchase table. Okay, just listen carefully. Customer name Jane, customer name Jane is available in customer purchases table. Okay, that's the reason in the quantity you get it as 4. Okay, if Jane is present in the customer table and when she didn't place any order, her name won't be available in the customer purchases table. Okay, and in that case this quantity will have null values. Okay, now to filter out the customer IDs who didn't place any order at all, we need to use a where clause. Cp dot quantity is null. Now when you run, you get these two customers who didn't place any order at all because this James and Rohit, both the names are available in the customer table, but these two names are not available in the customer purchase table. Hence that's the reason when we use left join, we get the null values in the from the second tables because these names are not available over there. I mean these IDs are not available. 55 and 56 are not available. Hence it is giving us null values. Okay. Hope you guys clear with it. We'll solve one more question using left join. Then you'll have a better idea. Okay. Same concept but with different scenarios. The third problem statement is get the vendors for whom both were not assigned. Okay. Now let's go to the ER diagram and see which table we need to use for this problem statement. Where is booth assignment? Okay, vendor booth assignment is there where vendor ID, booth number and market date. Okay, and we need details of the vendors. Okay, we have a table called vendor where vendor ID, vendor name, what is the vendor type, and vendor's one of first name, last name, basically vendor details. This vendor table will have details of all the vendor. Okay, how we had a customer and customer purchase, same way we have vendor and vendor booth assignment. This vendor table will have details of all the vendors. This vendor booth assignment will have details of only the vendor IDs for whom the booth was assigned. Okay, now you get it right. Same way customer and customer purchases, we have vendor and vendor booth assignment. Okay, now we'll write the query. Start with select from left join. Okay, we need to get details of always when we use left join. Okay, left join basically gets all the data from the left hand side table, from the first table. Okay, so the first table should be vendor table. Okay, vendor as V. Okay, and second table would be vendor booth assignments as VB. Okay, and we can use the joins on condition as on. What is a common key that is joining both the tables? The vendor ID is a primary key, and the same vendor ID is a foreign key in the vendor booth assignment table. So vendor ID. So we'll just use v dot vendor ID is equal to vb dot vendor ID. Okay. vendor ID. Okay, now to decide what are the columns we want in the output, we definitely want the vendor ID from the vendors table, not the vendor booth assignment table. Okay, so just write v dot vendor ID, and from the second table we would like uh, booth number. Okay, vb dot booth number. Okay, just so that when we get the null values, we actually know that this vendor ID has null values with the booth number column. That means that booth was not assigned for the vendor ID for that particular vendor. Okay, so we have mentioned the join statement. We'll write where clause where vb dot booth number is null. Okay, now let's run this. Got it. So vendor ID 2, 5, and 6, for all these three vendors, booth was not assigned. Hence, you get null values in this. Hope you understand this. This is similar to the customer and customer purchase, but only thing is the tables are different, but the concept is same. Okay. Now to learn about right join. Okay. What if instead of left you use, just a second. Let me copy this and I'll do the editing. Okay. Instead of left, if we when we use right join, we don't get anything. Okay. The reason is right join takes all the details from the right table. Okay, from the right table, and here the output column we are getting from the left table. Hence, it is no, there is nothing because only the matching thing should come. So when you use right join, all you need to do is just change the table vendor booth assignment as VB and just write vendors table here. Now when you run this query, you'll get the same result as the previous query where we use left join. You see this is a left join query. I'm executing this. I got the answer as 2, 5, and 6. Now when I run this query, which no in which we have mentioned right join instead of left join, just look at the output. It's the same output, 2, 5, and 6. So this is the difference between left and right join. Okay, actually both are same. All you need to do is just swap the table from between them. That's it. You'll get the right results. Okay, so hope you guys understand. Okay, now okay, like I said, this is the outer join. We won't be using this much, but just keep in mind mostly we will use inner join and left join. Even in your real world scenarios when you're working, we'll use only left join and right join. Sorry, inner join and left join, not the outer join. There are one odd situations where you will be forced to use outer join. For that, I'll give you 2, 3 examples so that you're even ready for that. For now, outer join, the same two tables, table 1 and table 2. Common ID is vendor ID 1 and 2. When you use outer join, what you get? You get both common columns as well as the not matching columns with null values. This is what you get. So the vendor ID, which is common in both, you get the booth number adjacent to the vendor name and vendor ID. But for the vendor ID 3 happy hens, there is no booth number, hence it is null. Okay, and for the vendor ID 4, there is booth number, but there is no vendor name, hence it is null. It gives null values. This is the outer join. Okay, and we also have one more join called cross join. Okay, sorry. Before that, let's just speak about union. Since in MySQL you can't use outer join, we have to use the union function. The union is basically combines the result of a left join and a right join. In big in BigQuery also, both outer join as well as union will work. But the only thing is you need to use union distinct to remove duplicates, or union on if you want to keep them. W- and I'll take a separate session explaining unions. For now, just keep in mind that's it. There is a fifth join that we use. Sometimes we use, very rarely, that is cross join. It is a type of join that pairs every single row from the first table with every single row from the second table. This is usually used in no, sometimes in interview you get a questions like there are four teams and each has to play match with other three teams. How you for that kind of scenario we use cross joins. In the next session I'll give a small example explaining this cross join. Okay, that time you'll understand. The example is what, same way, two tables. When you use cross join, it says every row from the first table will match with every row from the second table. Same way, if you look at vendor ID one blue rigid form, it's matched with booth number 101 and 102. Same way, organic orchard match with 101 and 102. This is cross join. Okay. Now, just to summarize, just keep this in mind. Okay, SQL joins are like connective tissues of your database. Okay, so the best way to explain inner join is that inner join is like a matchmaker. Okay, it only shows you rows where the left and right table perfectly shake hands. If there is no match, there won't be entry. So no match, no entry. Only if there is a match, it will be there at the output. Okay, left join. Left join, it's kind of like a protective parent. It keeps everything from the left hand side table and only adds the matching details from the right. Okay, when there is no matching details, it'll uh, it'll give null values. Right join. Right join is like the mirror image. It prioritizes the right table and fills in vendor name only where they exist, and same like left join. If there is no values, if there is no matching values, you'll get null values in there. Then full outer join. Full outer join, it's kind of like a family reunion. It returns every single record from both sides using null to fill in gaps where data is missing. Okay. And the fifth join, like I said, it's a cross join. It's like a multiplier. It pairs every single row of table A with every single row of table B. There is no conditions, nothing. It'll just, even if it matches, it doesn't matter. It'll match every single row of table A with every single row of table B. Just pure combinations. Okay. So, and also keep in mind, ER diagram is your roadmap to knowing which keys to join. Okay. So it means that without this ER diagram, when you don't have any idea about this ER diagram, it will be very difficult for you to use the join statement because you wouldn't know. Okay, unless and until you know that customer ID is column, no, sorry, customer ID column is common for both customer and customer purchases. You can't able to use a left join on or an no inner join without knowing the common column name, because you have to mention that in the condition in using on clause. Okay, so this ER diagram is the main. Try to understand this first and then start writing the query. And finally, if this breakdown makes joins easy for you, just do me a huge favor, hit that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm to to show this tutorial to other aspiring data analysts just like you.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Data Guy channel.